Thank you for joining us. This is live with Miami's Community News, and I'm Michael Miller, our guest today from MarineMax. All right, this is going to be great. Carlos Lopez and Gabe Agelan. Super. We're here for a couple things. One, to talk about MarineMax and the opportunities available for people in the boating industry, and also to talk about the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, which is going to be here next weekend. So first, let's talk about MarineMax, what it's all about, and how you fit into that.
Sure. Thanks, Michael. So MarineMax is the world's largest pleasure boating dealer, not only in the world, but also obviously in the U.S. Currently, MarineMax has over 85 stores, mostly based on the East Coast of Florida, Texas, Midwest, Minneapolis, and that area as well, the Great Lakes. Specific to MarineMax Miami, we've been in Miami over 30 years. South Florida alone, we have locations, 2 in Pompano, 1 in Miami, 1 in Ocean Reef. So MarineMax is very well versed. At MarineMax Miami, we sell 12 different brands of boats, new boats. So how do we tie into the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show? The Fort Lauderdale Boat Show is a manufacturer's show. What that means is all the manufacturers for all the different brands of boats are going to have a booth representative at the show, either at the convention center or on the water at BMR. MarineMax ties in with our brand partners, and we're there to help show new boats, sell new boats, but also show you some of the features and benefits on the boats.
And so for people that are not familiar with boat shows, it's like the auto show that's here. All the manufacturers from all over, you can go, you can see the cars, see what's the new thing that's going to come out this year or maybe even next year. And so, Gabe, why don't you tell us about what you do with MarineMax?
Well, thank you, Michael, for having us. So my name is Gabe Agelan, as he mentioned. I am a sales consultant, and I've been with MarineMax now for almost 7 years. I started in the team support office in Clearwater, and I've since then transitioned to sales. So my main goal is to pair someone with the best possible boat that they can have for what their needs are.
So when somebody walks in to your store and do they say, I'm looking for a boat? And then do they say right off the bat, how much is it? And you sort of chuckle until you get out what they're looking for. How do you move somebody from like thinking about the price instead of the features and what they would enjoy?
So the first thing we're going to do when you walk into the office is sit down in our office, right? A lot of people just want to get on boats and check them out. But first thing we're going to do is sit down with you and your family, if they're there, identify what you're really looking for. Are you looking for a fishing boat? Are you looking for a pleasure boat? Are you looking for a yacht? There's different options. As I mentioned, we have 12 different brands, all that can meet different needs that the customer has. So first thing we're going to do is find out what kind of boat you're looking for. And then second of all, we're going to talk about pricing and where it makes sense.
When you say what kind, you mean for the use of it?
Correct. What use of it? Is it, like for me, I'm a family man, right? I love fishing. So you may look at a dual console, something that's good for the family, but good for fishing. You may have somebody that says, I want to go fishing every weekend. Well, then you're probably looking at a center console.
Us non-boatmen, does the reluctant spouse keep going until they finally get fed up and go, no, you're going to go by yourself? So how does that work out when one says, I want a pleasure boat, I don't want to go fishing because I don't want to bait the hook or whatever it is? How do you navigate through that?
It's a challenge, but I can tell you this. Once they're out on the water and boating, that's all gone out the window. And they're probably going to be the first ones to request for an upgrade, to get more space, to be able to accommodate more guests and friends. But definitely starting out, trying to bridge the gap between the husband and the wife. Typically a husband that wants to fish, the wife wants to be comfortable, wants to be able to accommodate, serve drinks, hors d'oeuvres, things like that. So trying to find that hybrid, if you will, between the two and get them out on the water and enjoying it.
Serve the hors d'oeuvres. So we know what size boat that is. So when somebody walks in, do they typically give you the more or less the size boat that do they know more or less the size that they're looking for and the capacity?
Depends on the client. If they're a past boater, yes. You know, they had a 25 footer, let's say, they know they want to upgrade to a 28 to a 30. If they're a new boater, first time buying a boat, they may not have any idea. They may overestimate or underestimate, thinking of 25, and when they get on it, like, no, it's way too small or it's way too big.
So we know that South Florida, and Florida in particular, has a huge volume of boats and boaters throughout we rank right up there in the number of boat owners. Where do all the boat owners put their boats?
So that has been a challenge. Obviously, over the last couple of years, the boating industry, especially in Florida, has really grown. So that has been a challenge. But there are different places, dry docks. Those little racks that you see, marinas, behind people's homes, on trailers. Right, those are probably the four major places where somebody would keep the boat. So depending again on the size, would warrant where they would keep it.
A friend of ours wanted a boat, so he calls the local marina, and they tell him when it's going to be ready. And when it was a while, but when they told him, they gave him a certain time frame to get it. And then he went out and he bought the boat. There was no boat in mind particularly because he didn't know what was going to be there. He's the happiest guy in the world. It's down the street from his house. He drives up, goes over into the water, where his boat is, and he takes it out. So we know as you get farther up north, downtown, Aventura, Sunny Isles, there are a lot of people in the boating field up there, but we see a lot of those boats up there that are for the snowbirds. So how often do snowbirds come down and say, we want a boat and we want to park it, dock it? That's not park, dock it someplace. So when they come down, are they ready when they walk in your store? Are they ready? We're ready. This is where we live and we want to buy a boat.
Certainly. And that's actually one of the main reasons why these boat shows, for example, Fort Lauderdale starts in October. That way you can have the latest and greatest ready for you when you get down here for the warm weather. But boat show season is typically during those winter months from October till right about Miami Boat Show in February, March. And the reason being is those snowbirds can have their boats ready here in the wintertime, but also for the ones that are launching in the spring and summer up north, so they can have their boats ready by the time they're ready to go boating, because as you know, their season is quite short. It's a few months depending on where you are.
And I think we're ready for a 1-minute video of MarineMax.
Yep.
Can we put that up?
At MarineMax, we don't sell boats, we sell boating. Boating changes lives. We want to create new memories for you and your family. Some of the best ones I have as a child were boating with my family and friends, and we hope to pass that on to you and yours.
Customers should know when they come to MarineMax Miami that they can feel 100% confident they're going to have the support at every stage of the process in acquiring a boat and ultimately enjoying that.
We understand the lifestyle. We want to make it easy and fun for you. We want to make sure that you venture out comfortably and feel secure every time you're out on the water. When purchasing a boat with MarineMax, you're not just purchasing it from a salesperson. You're purchasing it from a person that truly cares about the features and benefits that will help you and your family enjoy your boating.
So MarineMax been around for a long time. What people were just watching was your location, 79th Street area and Biscayne. A lot of boats up there.
Correct.
And again, I'm not a boatman, but when I do go boating, I like to fish. So at the boat show, there's going to be things other than just boats. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so at the boat show, obviously it's called the boat show, but it's everything that really goes around boating. Whether it's fishing rods, it's accessories, parts, floats, hydro slides, canoes, kayaks, basically anything that touches the water, you'll be able to find at the boat show. So it's a great opportunity for, even if you're not looking for a boat, it's a great opportunity to go out there and see what's new in the marketplace.
So somebody goes to the show, they're going to sit down with the one or both of you, and they're going to say, okay, this is what I'm looking for. But if somebody's going there more than just shopping, they want to get some real direct answers to their questions, and they want to sit one-on-one. What are some of the things they should prepare for when they walk in?
Depends on what information you're trying to look for. I think a great point of contact is the manufacturers themselves. People from the factories that are really in tune with the product, that can answer more specific questions, whether you're a novice or you've been boating for 45 years. There's always something new out there, and those are the most dialed-in people that you can ask, whether you're shopping or just curious about what's coming down the line.
When people, when they walk in and say, yes, I have a boat now, number one, we'll talk about trade-ins for a second, but do people go in with a favored brand? I've been driving, F-150 GMCs forever. That's what I'm getting, right? But when they walk into again, do they know what type of brand they typically want?
It depends on the client. You have some that are brand loyal. They've got X boat and that's what they're buying. They're just upgrading. You have some people that walk in, they have no idea. They're at the boat show to shop, to really find out what they want. And then you'll have some that have done some shopping. I think that's happening obviously more and more now with the ease of the internet. And they'll come in and say, okay, I really want to look at these 2 or 3 brands. They may get wowed by another brand that's out there, but they kind of have a focus of what they're looking at.
So if somebody already owns a boat and they're going, all right, I've had this one for 5 years, I'm done, I want the next step up, they should do their homework ahead of time when they walk in. This is the type of boat I have. And do they typically say, I know this boat on the retail market is worth X dollars? They walk in and do they volunteer that to you?
That depends on who you're dealing with. Definitely always good to walk in with some research. Do your homework, know what you're looking for. It is, you're drinking water through a fire hydrant where you're there. There's so many different products. So having an idea of where you want to go, really thinking about in the last 5 years of you having your own boat, what have we done the most? What have we enjoyed the most, right? So how can we maximize that on our next boat? And that's what we look for as salespeople, to try to pair you up with the next thing that you're really going to benefit from and get a lot out of that next boat.
And is there a particular age group where people are more likely to have pleasure, just do a pleasure, or fishing or scuba diving? And what makes the difference in that?
I think one thing is past experiences. If you grew up as a fisherman, you're probably more likely to get a fishing boat. But I think also family. Again, I grew up fishing with my godfather in the Keys. But if I were to buy a boat today, it'd be something more useful for the family. I've got 2 small kids. We always want to take friends and family with us. So I think life really dictates what you buy. Also career. I mean, if you're somebody that's working 6 days a week, Sunday, you're probably going to take time with the family. You may not want to go out fishing because you want to spend time with the family. So I think life really dictates what you get.
So people need to have some experience before they turn the key on that. How do they get that experience if they've never owned a boat before? What do they need to do to get licensed, if that's appropriate? So
as far as licensing goes, if you were born prior to 1988, you don't need a boater's license per se. The main, I would say, driving factor to that is getting time on the water, going out with friends. Now, MarineMax does offer classes. So we have women on water, kids in boating, things like that not only are going to help you figure out what that next boat is going to be, or the first boat, but also give you comfort when you're out on the water, safety.
And I think the Coast Guard or Coast Guard Auxiliary also, I've seen that they offer us classes. You can go in there, not judgmental, without a salesman standing there pounding you over the head. And as you're saying, it's really the experience of being there and watching how you do that. My grandson, he gets all dressed up. Dad's there, and when the boy gets done, he's pounding his chest. Look, I go, how'd you do? Okay, great. And then he runs off and he's playing. And I'm going, and he was just driving that boat. All right. So, and again, there's all different sizes, and quite frequently we see where there's groups of boat. I don't want to say in a sandbar, but it seems like that over on the beach, and people can drive their boat up to some of the docks that are there and go on land and have lunch or dinner. When we do that, it's just a wonderful thing. And for people that want their boats at their houses, they need to go, not all the time, but find a house with a dock where you can bring it back there. So do people ask you about that? Hey, I'm down here. I want to move down here. I want to get a 35-foot boat, but I want to in my backyard. Do you point them in a certain direction?
Yeah, Gable's by the sea, or one of the years with water behind it. But usually it happens the other way around. Usually somebody moving from out of state is going to find a house on the water first and then come and find the boat. More locals will say, okay, I want to have that boat. I've had the boat for 10, 15 years, the marina. I want to have it now behind my house. They'll know what they're looking for, and they'll go find the house. But usually we are the secondary person, right? They're going to look for the boat after they move to South Florida, figure out pretty quickly, I need a boat, and then come to us to look for that boat.
Gabe, how did you get involved in boating?
As a kid, I have the water gene, if you will. Learned how to drive a boat before I knew how to drive a car. And just as life progressed, that's something that you really realize, I get to do this. I don't have to do this. Once I graduated college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was fortunate enough to get a foot in the door at MarineMax in Clearwater at the corporate office, which was extremely helpful for me because I got to learn the business from inside out. And then an opportunity opened up in Miami. I speak Spanish, and as we know, the community is heavy on Spanish here. So got my foot in the door here in Miami and worked my tail off to be able to get to do this, not have to do this.
So we know your godfather took you out boating all the time. When did you know you had the bug?
Probably around 11 years old. Listened to, may rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville, on the radio, and just down in the Keys. Every Memorial Day weekend, every Labor Day weekend, 4th of July, 1 week in the Keys with my godfather and my cousin and my aunt, just spending time on the boat. Him and I would leave fishing at 5 in the morning, come back around 11:30, pick up my cousin and my aunt, and then go to, sandbar and things like that. So early in my life, I knew I loved boating. I wanted to be around boating.
So your family's pretty happy that you made it through high school. Oh, yeah.
High school, and I actually graduated from FIU.
Okay,
So
well,
I'm a local
FIU
grad.
in 72. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about maintenance for the more than hobbyists. If somebody has their boat at their house, what are some things that they should look out for in taking care of the boat?
So, the biggest thing, if you have it at your house, depends, do you have it on a lift or do you have it in the water? That's two different things. If you have it in the water, the maintenance could include some bottom cleaning. You're gonna have to have bottom paint on it. You wanna make sure, in an ideal world in South Florida, have outboard engines that you can tilt up so they're not sitting in the water at all time. And then a lot of times you have maintenance programs, people that will come to your boat, every week or 2 weeks, just make sure everything's still running. So
you can help them with that.
Yeah, we have connections. We don't do it at MarineMax ourselves, but we have definitely contacts we can introduce the customers to let them know, hey, this is what you should be doing.
And so, Gabe, let me ask, how do you do it so it's painless and seamless for the customer when they walk in the door? Because we know in today's environment, they got to wait, and if it's disruptive, they go, I don't have the patience for this anymore. Make it simple. So how do you do that?
I'd say starting out with setting the right expectations for the customer. But definitely for us, it's a fun experience. Boating should be fun from the moment you get in to the day you trade that boat in. And I think our passion, you feel that as soon as you walk in to MarineMax. All of us really do love boating. If I'm not working, I'm typically on a boat. And so I think that you can't fake that. That's something that the customer, they walk in and they really feel like, hey, this is someone that's looking out for my best interest and really wants to help me have a good experience.
And you mentioned about fun. I was out on a boat, and the boy, the father and the son was probably 12. He's on the bow, and he throws out this big net, and he hauls it on a 20 or 30 mullet. He does it again. The kid is so enthralled, he lays down on the bow with the mullet all over him. I said, I'm telling your mother right now. I said, I'm going to take this picture and send it to them. But here's the guy. He's in, right? He's just there for in the entire life to do things like that. And let's talk about safety out in the water, what kind of classes should people take, and as far as preventative things also. Tell us about that.
Yeah, look, we definitely recommend any classes you can take online to at least get you some basic knowledge. There's Coast Guard auxiliary classes, as you mentioned. Hopefully in one of our next podcasts, we'll be working with Lucy Foundation, which is all about training people here in South Florida. We also, every time you take delivery of a new boat from MarineMax, we have our captain at DL or a salesperson, depending on the situation. They're going to sit and train you on the boat. So it's not just here are the keys, good luck, call us if you have any issues. We're going to actually make sure we walk through all the safety systems, all the features and benefits of the boat, how to properly, work on the boat, and then take you out on the water, make sure you're aware of your surroundings, aware of the safety, whether it's red, right return, right? When is red on the right? When is red on the left? Things like that. So we do that. As Gabe mentioned earlier, we also do classes for women on water. We just hosted one last weekend. We do a kids and boating class. We do general safety classes for our customers so they can all keep getting trained.
So Gabe, I occasionally go online and watch the Holliver inlet, outlet, whatever it is. It's hysterical. Yeah. I'm just waiting for everybody to have an unsafe moment, right? It's great. And the guy that's shooting is talking about the particular boat. So it's this great commercials. That's a 25-foot, whatever it is. And if people haven't gone and look at it, it's great because the water behaves differently there.
Yes. From
From little boats to some pretty big boats, and a lot of fun doing that. And it's my giggle time. And sometimes somebody gets thrown off. And so what should the person that's not really goes out a lot of boat, should they be wearing a life vest?
Kids, certainly. If you have a kid under 12, I would always have a life jacket on them. Anybody that's older, that's a good swimmer, depends on the conditions you're in. I would always wear your safety lanyard, so in case the driver gets ejected, you can turn off. There's safety procedures that you can follow.
We have that on treadmills.
Exactly.
And you ain't going anywhere except for there.
Yeah.
So definitely following safety procedures, having a checklist. I would always advise my clients to go through an emergency situation. You don't want to ever be in that situation, but have a plan.
Yes.
And I think train kids from a young age, being able to swim obviously is important, but doing as much as you can to educate yourself and put yourself in the best case scenario.
So Carlos, let's say somebody's getting ready to go to the boat show, tells it they should have a checklist with them so they don't forget the stuff, because we know how that thing gets you crazy and you forget stuff. So what are some of the things they should write down for themselves?
Do your homework. Right, we talked about that earlier, but do your homework. What kind of boat are you looking for? At least have an idea. Once you get to the boat show, every boat looks beautiful. They're all waxed, they're all clean, they're all standing tall. So if you walk in and you don't have any idea, right, the $500,000 boat could look the same as a $150,000 boat. And if you don't know or don't understand, you're gonna say, what's the difference? So know what you're looking for. I would say have a list of boats that you want to definitely check out. If you have a trade, make sure you do some research. Find out what your trade is selling for online. Doesn't always mean that that's what you're going to get, but at least have a basic ballpark of, okay, if I were to sell this online, I should be able to get about this amount.
And so people get more comfortable when they have that information. Gee, this is what we do on the boat. They're with their spouse. We go fishing. This is how often we do it. This is how many people typically on the boat. And this is where we go fishing, because you'd be fishing in the bay or you could be fishing in the ocean. Different type of stuff. And at the boat show, they have, other than just big engine boats, what else they have at the boat show?
They're going to have from a kayak
That's
to...
my speed, folks. Yeah. With pontoons on it.
Pontoons. No, I mean, look, they're going to have everything. They're going to have your kayaks, your canoes, your small day boats, your small bay boats, up until, especially at Fort Lauderdale, your really big mega yachts. So they're going to have a little bit of everything. So again, it's kind of have an idea of where you're looking for, what you're looking at. The other thing that's important is, who are you going to be buying the boat from? As we mentioned, this is a manufacturer's boat show, meaning Grady White, for example, which is one of the brands we sell. Grady White, the booth there is for Grady White. We as MarineMax are representing Grady White there. When you're going to buy the boat, you're going to buy it from MarineMax, a Grady White boat, let's just say. Well, it's good to know who is the dealer. Did they just open up last week? Have they been around 10 years? Right? What's their reputation? What's the kind of service that they're going to get? For example, MarineMax, we also offer service. So it's not just about selling you the boat and, good luck. You can always come back to us to take care of your boat.
And to put in perspective, you buy a car, you could buy a car from anywhere, but you want it in a place that's going to take care of you when you have a problem. So tell us about MarineMax and, again, why you're there and what it's like working there.
Well, every day is different, and that's one of the reasons why I love it. You never know who you're going to run across. But one thing that is always going to be constant is MarineMax, the dealership, where we're always there to help you stay on the water for longer. It's important that you're going to have someone that's going to pick up the phone whenever you call, whether that be on a Sunday when you're using the boat with your family or a Tuesday at 9 o'clock. So I think the most important thing is knowing that they're going to be there. But for us, I've played in a lot of sports teams and things like that, and the camaraderie within the team, especially in a sales office, which you don't see very often, is unbelievable. I truly do love all my coworkers. Service, sales, that's I would say the most fun of the entire thing is you get to work with people that are also doing the same thing that you love, and I think the customers feel that.
Yes.
I really do.
And Carlos, if people want to check out MarineMax, they could go to, what's the web address? Is
www.marinemax.com.
And there we go. That's up on the screen now, so people can go there. Again, that particular branch is on 79th. All right.
79th
So MarineMax, tell us again how many stores you have.
I've lost count. I know we're definitely above 80.
That's significant.
Significant. Again, in South Florida, we have, if you go all the way to Stewart and you're going to count that, we have 6 locations.
So MarineMax handles different manufacturers.
Correct.
And from whatever it is, from the small to the larger ones, and all different size boats within that category, they could go to the one in on 79th Street. They could see some of the boats you have on the floor, if you will, in the water, and also on the floor. They can figure out what works. The show is going to be when, the
25th through the 29th
of
of October. So starting next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, all right?
Correct.
So folks, take out your checkbook, all right? But more importantly, make out your list of the things that you are looking for in a boat and your use, so that you don't have to get, when you're there, you're not going to get carried away. You can sit down with some folks like yourselves. This is what we're presently doing. This is where our boat is now. This is what we want to do with it. We want to go fishing, or we're done with fishing and we want a pleasure. I can hear that argument right now. All right. So, and they can take classes with you. They can go to the Coast Guard. They can go online. They can find all different classes. And even as a refresher course, those things are great to do. We know there've been a lot of accidents on the water, just like in cars. People, they get stupid or whatever, or there's an accident, or they run out of gas. But let me ask you something. Are there, I know it sort of sounds like, are there all battery operated boats?
So there are that technology for the marine industry to really replace what we see today. I think it's still far away.
Yep.
There are some smaller boats with, smaller engines that are battery powered, but as of right now, nothing that really would compete against the outboards, as the gas outboards.
So you mentioned it as specifically about outboard engines, so they could be out of the water. Why is that important? And we're going to wrap up in about 3 minutes.
From a maintenance standpoint, right? We all know salt water, whether it's your car or your boat, anything sitting in salt water over time is going to get, more damaged. So on the outboards engine, they're nice. You can tilt them up and keep them completely out of the water. South Florida is probably, I was guessing for boats, probably 80 to 85% outboard engines versus the inboards. So it's just a matter of maintenance down to.
And inquiring minds want to know about sailboats. Tell us about sailboats.
Well, MarineMax doesn't deal with sailboats directly. I'm not too familiar with it, so I don't want to misguide anybody on that aspect. But Miami is a great place to be sailing, I'll tell you that.
So again, people can call you up. They can go visit your store. They can walk in, or they could ask, for either one of you. Boat show's coming at Fort Lauderdale, and a few months after that, it's going to be here in Miami. But the one to go to is the one in Fort Lauderdale. It's great. They have from small boats to significant yachts. Tell us the price range on, let's say, 50-foot yachts. What's the price range? I know it depends on a whole bunch of stuff.
I'll defer to Gabe on that one.
It does depend, and it can range, I would tell you, there's a delta at about 30% depending on brand,
Right.
Components, things like that. 50-footers, you're probably going to be in the $3.5 million range right there. But again, it all depends. There's so many variables.
There's a lot of money in South Florida, and there's a lot of money that people paying to enjoy that particular part of life, to be able to go out on the ocean or in the bay. So we're going to get ready to wrap up. So what don't you can look right at this camera right here. And what I'd like you to thank a mentor of yours as you were growing up, or maybe it's now. And if you want to mention by name, that would be great. And I'm going to be asking you in a second. So you can look right in that camera there.
So I'm going to thank my godfather. I know I mentioned him a couple of times, Dr. Enrique Canton, pediatrician here in Miami for a long time. He is the one that really got me the boating bug. And to this day, him and I talk boating all the time. So thank you.
Right. Gabe, you're on. And which camera should you look in? Same one?
I'm actually going to go to one of my coworkers, Manny Medina. He's a 38-year team member. We call him the Godfather. He has so much patience, and he had a lot of patience with me. Me being a young kid and not wanting to listen, but he definitely took me under his wing and really gave me a keys to the Ferrari. So I will always be indebted to him and extremely thankful.
Terrific. Carlos, thank you very much. Gabe,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
so much.
Great show. Thanks for being here. Enjoy the show in a couple of weeks. Don't eat too much and enjoy yourself.
Much
and
appreciated.
saw a lot of boats.
Thank you.
Folks, thank you very much for joining us again. MarineMax.com. You can find out what you're looking for. See you then, and have a great day. Bye.